Yes, good afternoon. Welcome back to the channel. Arsenal, according to reports, have bid for Spanish international Fabian Ruiz. There's also links to Julian Alvarez, potential £70 million deal to get him out of Manchester City. And we've got the latest on regards to Mikel Merino. If you're new to the channel, please go down, hit that subscribe button. 2 uploads today. First one on Arsenal, second one on Manchester United. Still waiting for some Liverpool news, and we will eventually start speaking on them as well. Make sure you do subscribe. If you're enjoying the content, we get 500 likes. I mean, the last 2 videos of it, well over 1,000. The support genuinely is ridiculous. We're closing in now on 15,000 subscribers, over 6,000 new subscribers this month. Running out of words to describe the support. It's just overwhelming. I'm going to be honest. The community we're growing on this channel, all different fans, all different backgrounds. It's absolutely fantastic. And yes, I have decided to go for a different haircut to get rid of that stupid blonde hair because, of course, England didn't win the Euros. Here we go from the standard art. This is 4 minutes ago. Arsenal still working on a Mikel Merino deal. Arsenal appear close to Calafiori signing as work begins on a deal to bring in new midfield. Now, of course, Calafiori is now an Arsenal player. He will join up with the squad that have already played Bournemouth in a game which they drew. Then they went on to a penalty shootout. And tomorrow morning, early hours, around 1 o'clock, Arsenal will play Manchester United. And we may do a match reaction to that. So stay tuned for that. Now it says, according to Football Insider, the Gunners are still attempting to put together a move to sign Real Sociedad and Spain star Mikel Merino. Now, according to various sources, Mikel Merino is open to a move to Arsenal, and there is belief that the deal could be done for, I believe, I read something yesterday, around 30 million euros. Now, transfermarket.co.uk value him at around 25 million euros. Now, as I said yesterday, it's going to be very interesting to see if Arsenal sign both Merino and Fabian Ruiz, which is looking relatively likely at present. They're going to have 3 8s in their midfield. Like options. Mikel Merino predominantly is an 8, but can play as a DM. Fabian Ruiz, of course, is an out-and-out 8 and rarely plays as a DM. And then you've got the likes of Declan Rice. Now, is there a potential scenario where Declan Rice goes back to being the out-and-out DM for Arsenal? Obviously, he can play that role very, very well. Mikel Arteta has turned him into an advanced 8. And when I look at the way Arsenal play going into next season, obviously, the idea of Arteta's system is all out-and-out control. It's about completely controlling the tempo of the game, having a midfield that are technical enough to, pass through the lines, outplay you, outwork you, just are stronger than you in every single position. Now, Declan Rice could, although he's their answer at the moment to the number 8 position, he could be their answer to the DM position if they bring in a Fabian Ruiz and a Mikel Merino, because when I look at them right now, I look at it's interesting because Declan Rice last season, other than Rodri, was probably the best midfielder in the league in terms of the 6 and the 8. But do them performances go back to the 6 at that level? Yes. Now, Fabian Ruiz, according to various reports, there is a report that Arsenal are prepared to bid, and there's also reports floating around that personal terms aren't going to be an issue. Various different reports coming out. The Metro have put Arsenal have opened talks with PSG to sign £18.5 million midfielder. Now, I don't for 1 minute think they're going to sign Fabian Ruiz for £18.5 million. If they did, you're talking signing of the summer at that price. Absolutely dirt cheap. He says Arsenal have opened talks with Paris Saint-Germain to sign Fabian Ruiz. Mikel Arteta's side have yet added to their squad although they are close to completing a £50 million deal for Bologna defender, which is now done. Understood. Arsenal are also in the market for an attacking player, as well as a new central midfielder ahead of the new season. According to Duncan Castle's last season's runners-up in the Premier League, have now made a move for Fabian Ruiz off the back of his excellent performances in Euro 2024. Arsenal have initiated with PSG for Spain international Fabian Ruiz, said Castles on the Transfer podcast. Their discussions are dependent, I'm told, on Arsenal moving a player out from midfield. It's likely, though, that they can come to an agreement with PSG on the transfer that will be structured in the same way to bring in David Raya from Brentford last summer, in the sense of being a loan with an obligation to buy 1 year later. I think that's clever business because then it still means that, you know, Arsenal can go out and drop big money on a forward. We know, of course, they're linked to, you know, the likes of Nico Williams, who of course is heavily linked with Barcelona, but they're also linked with Victor Gyökeres, who, according to reports, is open to an Arsenal move as well. Now, Fabian Ruiz, in terms of his contract, he has 3 years left on his deal. So they value him at around 35 million euro. I think the 35 million pound mark is about right. He joined PSG for 21.5 million euro, which is 18.5 million in August 2022. He played an integral role at Spain during the Euros. Absolutely fantastic. Was one of their standout players of the tournament with 2 goals and 2 assists. When asked about his future, he told Let Parisian, "I know that my name comes up every transfer window, but I am good in Paris. I still have 3 years left on my contract, and I still have lots of objectives to reach at PSG." But there is a lot of reports coming out in France that he is out of favour at PSG, and they are looking at potentially moving him on. Now, when I look at how could Fabian Ruiz fit into the Arsenal, now this is how I see Arsenal potentially lining up for the first game of the season with all their players fit at the moment in time if they sign Fabian Ruiz. Now, I think you're going to have this back four: Calafiori left back, Declan Rice in the DM a bit deeper, Fabian Ruiz in an 8, and Odegaard kind of playing like that as a 10, Saka a bit wider, Martinelli a bit wider, and then Havertz drops in kind of like as a false 9. Then obviously Ben White pushes up, Calafiori will push up. That, and then obviously Raya kind of plays like so. That is what I think Arsenal will play first game of the season if they sign Fabian Ruiz. Now, you've also got options to put in Mikel Merino. You've got other options to put in, you know, different players. Now, this team right here, I think you've got a very good balance. You've got that defense is incredibly strong. You've got a very well balanced midfield. You've got a box to box, a DM, and a 10. And you got an attack. Then you got the likes of Trossard that can come in, Gabriel Jesus, Timber, Zinchenko, Tomiyasu, and Mikel Merino. Now, of course, it's a squad game, so you know, in terms of you know, Arsenal right now, if they get a few more signings, they're going to be so strong next season. Now, we've got a report coming out from Fabrizio Romano that he said on Twitter. Romano is heading for Arsenal medical. Good news, Arsenal fans. As pictured, Riccardo Calafiori is heading for his medical, and there he is, with chairman and founder of WSA Agency, Alessandro Lucci, and CEO Alessio. I'm not even going to pretend to pronounce that surname. But in terms of Arsenal, it's a good start to the transfer window. Now, one player I wanted to speak on, because this is attracting a hell of a lot of interest. Now, whoever he signs for, it's a statement signing. Julian Alvarez. Manchester City forward Julian Alvarez reportedly wants to leave the club this summer in a pursuit of first-team football. The Premier League champions are understood to want a fee of around 77 million for his services, according to reports. I think it's 60 million pounds with 17 million in add-ons. According to reports via Spain, Team Talk, both Chelsea and Arsenal are in the running. He takes Chelsea to very close to the Champions League because he's that good. And if he joins Arsenal, he makes them win the league. Now, of course, we know Chelsea have got a very good transfer relationship with Manchester City. Cole Palmer joining Chelsea, Kovacic joining City, Sterling joining Chelsea, Arsenal the same. All those years ago, Clichy and Torre, and Bakary Sagna and Nazari, and recently, the likes of Zinchenko, Gabriel Jesus, etc., etc., etc. When you look at Julian Alvarez as a player in isolation, he's very, 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 very good. I can't believe he's gone to the Olympic Games. I thought City wouldn't allow that, but they have. His record in a City shirt is very, very impressive, in my opinion, considering most of his appearances in the Premier League, he does come off the bench quite a lot. His record for River Plate was 84 GA, 85 GA and 122. For Manchester City, it's 48 in 103. His record in the Champions League is good as well, 12 GA in 17. In the Club World Cup, he's got 4 GA in 3. In the Premier League, he's got 30 GA in 67 with 20 goals. His record in Argentina, 20 in 35. He's a very, 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 very experienced player who delivers on the biggest of biggest stages. 7 GA and 11 in the FA Cup, scored in the Community Shield. His record, he got 2 goals in the Copa America as well for Argentina. He scored a few goals in the World Cup back in 2020. He is a very, 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 very good footballer. Now, it's interesting because would Manchester City sell one of their star players for a move towards Arsenal? I think there's probably at present a higher chance he joins Chelsea, but I don't necessarily think he's going to leave. I don't necessarily think I don't think he's going to leave, if I'm being completely brutally honest right now. When I look at Arsenal, they are very, very close to being Premier League champions. I think they're going to be stronger this season than last season. I think they've got all the credentials to really go on this season, go further in the Champions League. But do Manchester City sell one of their star players to their biggest rival for a Premier League title? Also, you've got to look from Manchester City's perspective. Without Julian Alvarez on the bench, if Haaland gets an injury, then what happens? Let me know your thoughts down below on this. And Victor Gyökeres, this report is getting bigger and bigger and bigger in Portugal, that Arsenal are prepared to bid 60 to 70 million euro for him. Of course, he's got an 84 million pounds release clause, but I don't know how legit that is regards to the reports on his release clause. We'll have to wait and see. Let me know your thoughts down below if you haven't already. Make sure you drop a like. Make sure you subscribe. And I'll see you on the next one. Thank you for watching. I am